everyone, I'm Matt Dolan with Dolan Divorce Lawyers in Connecticut, and today what I'm going to talk about is the concept of parental alienation as it relates to custody cases in Connecticut. So basically, you may be surprised to hear this, but I like to steer as far away from the concept of parental alienation as possible. It's a very complex and controversial topic, at least in Connecticut courts, and there's easier ways to present a case than to go down that road. So there's two concepts that are often confused, which are parental alienation and parental alienation syndrome. So parental alienation, it just focuses on the behavior of the parents. So, if somebody is, engaging in parental alienation, that's one parent, is not telling the child that the other parent is a horrible human or making up lies about them, whatever. So that is parental alienation, and parental alienation syndrome focuses on the child and, is a mental health condition that, a child, will have as a result of the parental alienation of one of the parents. Now, the problem with the concept of parental alienation syndrome is that it's not recognized by the American Psychological Association. It's widely criticized by legal and mental health scholars. It's just a controversial topic that its existence is not even universally accepted. So because of that, there's just no reason to wade into those controversial waters. You never know what judge you're going to have, what their feelings are going to be about such a controversial topic. And really in Connecticut, there's been some very controversial, and drawn out cases that have involved allegations of parental alienation that resulted in parental alienation syndrome. And those have been wars that have been waged by essentially, crazy litigants, for lack of a better term. It's been crazy people who have been alleging this parental alienation syndrome. And so it's one of those, parental alienation syndrome. It's just one of those hot button topics that just leaves, people are aware of these cases that, these wars that have been waged in family court, and it can just leave a bad taste in, a judge's mouth or in lawyers' mouths. And, it can, for right or for wrong, it can associate you. If you're trying to claim parental alienation syndrome, it can associate you with those crazy litigants in the past, which you don't want to happen. It's very important, if not, it's probably the most important thing to, if you are involved in a controversial, in a contentious custody case, you want to appear to the judge as a sane and reasonable person. And if you don't know what a judge's view is going to be on parental alienation or parental alienation syndrome, and, you risk alienating the judge, for lack of a better term, no pun intended. Well, pun intended. You risk getting on, you risk a judge thinking you're crazy if you start, bringing up parental alienation syndrome. And again, you hopefully you're probably not crazy, but a judge might think you are, and you want to be seen as sane and reasonable to the person who is deciding your fate. So it's just a lot easier to just stick to the easier, to the more widely accepted concepts, or just explain the behavior that is happening, explain what is going on. You don't have to put a hot button label on it like parental alienation. You can just explain how one parent may be estranging your child, from you, or how one parent can be estranging a child from the other, or just explain how a parent can be manipulative or emotionally abusive. You can just explain the behavior, or in many cases there might be a psychological evaluation, and hopefully you have somebody doing it who is knowledgeable and experienced and will use diagnose things, narcissism, personality disorders. You want to diagnose conditions that are actually widely accepted in the legal community, or I should say in the medical community, but that extends to the legal community. And you just want to steer clear of such controversial topics. So those are the basics. My word of advice would be to stay as far away from the concept of parental alienation as possible. So as usual, if you have any other questions, feel free to contact our office. And if you are looking for help in a family law case here in Connecticut, we would invite you to contact our office as well.